Order. Order. The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. To the Minister of Finance, how can the vast majority of Kiwi households be better off after the budget?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I encourage the member to go to the website www.taxguide.gov.nz to see how the tax changes on 1 October will do that. The GST income tax switch initially sees an average family with 2 children about $25 a week better off, a typical average wage worker about $15 a week better off, and a superannuitant couple about $11 a week better off. Even when other general forecast inflation is taken into account, the benefits of the tax package get bigger over time. This is because after-tax incomes are forecast to grow more quickly than price increases in the 4 years to 2014.
The Honourable David
Mr Speaker, given that some of those price rises he's talking about include power price rises, what steps is he taking as shareholding minister to signal to power companies that raising prices to generate higher dividends is unacceptable?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, as the member will be aware, the Prime Minister made some pretty direct comments about that over the last couple of days. And I might say the record on power prices under that minister's supervision was pretty awful. They went up something like 60 or 70% during the time of the previous Labor government.
The Honourable Clayton Cosgrove.
So, Minister, what action will he take if power companies do raise prices excessively, or will he simply continue to sit on the sidelines and watch?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, I didn't actually hear the question. Could I repeat it?
Well, order. I will ask the member to repeat his question, but I ask the Minister to not interject while he's being asked questions. And I'll ask the Honourable Clayton Cosgrove to repeat his question.
Thanks. To the Minister, what action will he take if power companies do raise prices excessively, or will he simply continue to sit on the sidelines and watch?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, as the Prime Minister pointed out, only some power companies would be affected by the ETS. Consumers are now more able than ever to swap from one power company to another. And the member may also be keeping track of the moves the Minister of Energy has made through the electricity industry bill to restructure the industry so it becomes more competitive.
Aaron Gilmore.
Parliamentary to the Minister of Finance. How do the benefits of Budget 2010 tax changes increase for New Zealanders over time?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr Speaker, the benefit of Budget 2010 for an average 2-child family increases to about $28 a week by 1 October 2011, a year past the tax cuts. It then rises to about $41 a week by the 1st of October 2014. For a typical wage earner, it rises from $15 a week to about $23 a week by 2014. And once the 170,000 new jobs forecast in the budget are taken into account, household disposable incomes from all sources and after tax increased by over 25% by 2014.
The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Mr Speaker, to the Minister, if he's so concerned about energy companies keeping prices down, why did he pressure those companies last year to deliver bigger dividends to the government?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, the member may be aware that power company performance needed to improve pretty significantly. Under his government, they put prices up something like 60 or 70%, paid low dividends, and their costs 72%, paid low dividends, and they just ran fat on costs. What we are doing is making them perform better by holding price increases to a minimum and paying significant dividends to the government. They're just doing a better job now than they did under Labor.
Aaron Gilmore.
Supplementary question to the Minister. How were New Zealanders materially worse off as a result of price increases before the 2008 election?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr Speaker, electricity prices by 72% in the 9 years to 2008. The previous government's emissions trading system was poised to push up inflation by twice as much as the government's current scheme, so it's a bit rich hearing from them about the impact on consumer price index of the emissions trading system. They were going to push it up twice as far. And in fact, in the year to September 2008, inflation was 5%, and there was no compensation for it.
Point of order has been called. The Honourable David Cunliffe.
The point of order is not a new one, and I see that you were listening carefully to the way the Minister answered the supplementary question scripted by one of his own team, which specifically asked about matters pertaining to a period before he was Minister. And, Mr Speaker, I'd submit to you that by focusing his whole answer on matters that were outside his current jurisdiction and then mischaracterising Labour's position, sir, he's well outside standing orders.
For the Honourable Jerry Brown.
Mr Speaker, we shouldn't get into debating points in these points of order, but I fear that the member across there has done exactly that. Now, the reality is that Mr English, as the Finance Minister in the government, was instrumental in halving the ETS costs for New Zealanders. And the member needs to hear that.
Order. The member is now getting into genuine debating material. And I think the question was highly marginal because it did ask the Minister about a period prior to the commencement of the Minister's responsibilities, and that's why I was listening very carefully to the answer. And the answer was fine to the point where it started to make assertions about the impact of a previous government policy, and that's where it started to depart from standing orders, and we've heard enough of that answer. And I ask members to be mindful of that. Point of order, the Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, I seek leave to table the press release from the Honourable David Parker announcing double the increases in the power and petrol prices from the ETS advocated by the members opposite.
A press statement?
A press release by Mr David Parker.
No, we're not going to be tabling press releases. Question number 7, Simon Bridges.
Speaker.